It starts with a number you didn't even know you were supposed to be tracking. 496. And you feel it, the quiet fatigue, the fog in your mind, the sense that you're not really you. You're just a ghost in your own life, and the world tells you this is just getting older. But what if it's a lie? 99% of men will never understand the simple changes that unlock their true biological potential. Don't be one of them. What you're about to miss in the final minutes could keep you trapped in that fog forever. Foundational reset. There's a fundamental misunderstanding about how our bodies operate. We treat them like machines, expecting consistent output regardless of the input. We push, we grind, we consume whatever is fast and easy, and then we stand in front of the mirror wondering why the man looking back seems faded. My journey didn't start in a gym surrounded by clanging iron and motivational posters. It started in the quiet of my own kitchen with a decision to stop outsourcing my health to corporations that don't care about my vitality. It started with the realization that every single thing I put into my body was either building me up or tearing me down. There was no middle ground. The first and most profound change was the radical elimination of processed foods. This isn't about calories, it's about information. Processed foods, seed oils, refined sugars, they are sending signals of stress and inflammation to your cells. Your body, in its infinite wisdom, responds to this constant low-grade emergency by shutting down non-essential systems. And in a state of perpetual crisis, robust vitality and hormone production are considered luxuries. So, I became a gatekeeper. I started reading every label, not for the marketing claims on the front, but for the ingredients list on the back. If it contained things I couldn't pronounce, or if it was designed to sit on a shelf for years, I didn't eat it. My focus shifted to whole, single-ingredient foods, things that came from the earth, quality animal proteins, rich in the cholesterol that forms the very backbone of our hormones, healthy fats from avocados, olives, and raw nuts, the kind of fats our ancestors thrived on. This wasn't a diet, it was an ancestral agreement, a return to the blueprint. I ate for nourishment, not for entertainment. The craving for sugar, for the quick hit of dopamine from a snack food, it's a powerful addiction. Breaking it felt like a war within myself. For the first week, my body screamed for the familiar comforts. The brain fog was intense, the irritability was real, but I knew, on a deep intuitive level, that this was the poison leaving my system. It was the detoxification of a lifetime of casual self-abuse. I began to understand my body not as an enemy to be conquered, but as a partner to be nourished. The quality of my sleep started to shift. Instead of waking up feeling like I'd been in a fight, I started to wake up feeling reset. This is the foundation. It's not glamorous, it doesn't involve a single special powder or pill. It's the unsexy, essential work of providing your body with the raw materials it has been begging for, the ancient building blocks of life. Before you can build a temple, you must clear the land and lay a solid foundation. This was me clearing the land. I was removing the debris, the chemical noise, and creating a clean slate. I had to stop the incoming damage before I could even begin to repair what was already broken. This single shift, from consuming products to consuming food, was responsible for the first tectonic movement in my well-being. It was the silent, internal change that made every subsequent step possible. Without this, everything else is just building on sand. You cannot out-train a bad diet. You cannot out-supplement a system that is constantly being poisoned. It all starts here. And I began to see food not as a moral issue of good or bad, but as a biological one of aligned or misaligned. Does this fuel my purpose? Does this build the version of me I am striving to become? Or does it sedate me, inflame me, and pull me back into the fog? The clarity that comes from this simple binary choice is immense. It simplifies thousands of decisions into one guiding principle. This is where you take your power back. Not with a grand gesture, but with the quiet, consistent discipline of your daily choices. It's the first, most critical step on the path from a number on a page to a feeling of wholeness in your own skin. The world wants you distracted, inflamed, and dependent. The path to vitality is a rebellion against that status quo, and it begins on your plate. This initial phase, this foundational reset, is about declaring independence. It is the moment you decide that your internal environment is more important than any external pleasure or convenience. Primal movement? The modern world has sold us a lie about movement. It has packaged it as exercise, something to be done in a specific location at a specific time, usually as a punishment for what we ate. We go to a health club to sit on machines that isolate tiny muscle groups, moving in ways that have no correlation to our evolutionary design. Our ancestors didn't have leg extension machines or bicep curl stations. They walked, they ran, they climbed, they lifted heavy, awkward objects, and they sprinted as if their lives depended on it, because they did. My second great shift was to untether myself from the concept of the gym and reconnect with the idea of primal movement. I stopped thinking about working out and started thinking about training for life. My goal was no longer aesthetic, it was functional. I wanted to be strong, capable, and resilient. The man who can't run a mile, lift his own body weight, or pick up something heavy from the ground is a fragile man, regardless of what his lab report says. I simplified my training protocol to its core components. Heavy compound lifts became my anchor. Squats, deadlifts, overhead presses. These are not just muscle-building exercises, they are hormonal signals. Lifting heavy weight tells your body that it needs to be strong. It sends a powerful, undeniable message to your endocrine system. Adapt, grow, become more capable. This stress, this demand for adaptation, is precisely what stimulates the production of the very hormones that make us men. It is the language the body understands. But it was not just about the lifting. I embraced the power of intense, short bursts of activity, sprinting, not jogging for an hour, which can actually be a chronic stressor that elevates cortisol and works against you. I'm talking about all-out, maximum effort sprints for 30 seconds, followed by a full recovery. This type of high-intensity interval training mimics the life-or-death bursts of our ancestors and is one of the most potent ways to naturally stimulate growth hormone and testosterone. And then there was the walking. Something so simple, so fundamental, that it's almost entirely overlooked. I made a commitment to walk every single day, not on a treadmill staring at a screen, but outside, under the sun. The simple act of walking in nature does more than just burn calories. It calms the nervous system, it reduces cortisol, and it exposes you to sunlight. Sunlight on your skin is not the enemy we've been told it is. It is a vital nutrient. The vitamin D it synthesizes in our bodies is in fact a steroid hormone. Its deficiency is directly linked to low testosterone levels. Getting sun on my skin became a non-negotiable part of my protocol. I treated it like a supplement, one that no pill could ever replicate. It felt like I was plugging my body back into the planet's electrical socket, recharging on a level that was deeper than just physical. This approach transformed my relationship with my body. It was no longer an object to be sculpted, but a vehicle to be honed. I wanted a body that could perform, that could handle the demands of the world, that could protect and provide. The aesthetic changes were simply a byproduct of this pursuit of capability. I stopped obsessing over the mirror and started paying attention to what I could do. Could I lift more than last month? Could I run faster? Did I feel more stable, more grounded, more physically confident? The answer consistently became yes. The feeling of driving home after a heavy deadlift session, or the sense of aliveness after a series of hill sprints, that feeling is what vitality tastes like. It is a primal hum, a deep sense of power that radiates from your core. It's a confidence that isn't built on external validation, but on the certain knowledge of your own physical capacity. This is the movement that matters. It's not about being a bodybuilder, it's about being a capable human being. Disciplined rest. We live in a culture that worships the grind and demonizes rest. We are taught that sleeping less is a badge of honor, a sign of productivity and ambition. This is perhaps the single most destructive lie we have been fed. Sleep is not a passive state of inactivity, it is the most active and critical period of recovery and regeneration we have. It is during the deep stages of sleep that our bodies repair muscle tissue, consolidate memories, and, most importantly for this conversation, produce the vast majority of our daily testosterone. Depriving yourself of sleep is like taking a hormonal sledgehammer to your own well-being. My journey from 496 to 807 was not just built on what I did during the day, it was cemented by what I did, or more accurately, didn't do at night. I made sleep my sanctuary. I began to treat the last 2 hours of my day with the same discipline and intention as my morning routine. The results were not just profound, they were immediate and life-altering. The first and most crucial step was to control my light environment. Our bodies have an ancient internal clock, the circadian rhythm, which is primarily regulated by light. For millions of years, the setting of the sun meant the coming of darkness, which signaled to our brains to start producing melatonin and prepare for sleep. Today, we live in a state of perpetual artificial daylight. The bright screens of our phones, tablets, and televisions emit a powerful blue light that directly inhibits melatonin production. Staring at a screen before bed is like telling your brain it's midday, effectively sabotaging your ability to get the deep restorative sleep you need. I implemented a strict digital sunset. 2 hours before my scheduled bedtime, all screens went off. No exceptions. This was incredibly difficult at first. The urge to scroll, to check one more email, is a powerful modern addiction. But I replaced that habit with activities that calmed my nervous system. Reading a physical book, listening to calm music, stretching lightly, or simply sitting in quiet contemplation. Then, I turned my bedroom into a cave. I invested in blackout curtains that eliminated every single sliver of outside light. I covered the tiny LEDs on my electronics with black tape. When it was time to sleep, the room was in absolute, complete darkness. The impact of this cannot be overstated. Sleeping in a truly dark environment allows your pineal gland to function as it was designed, leading to a much deeper and more restorative sleep cycle. I also controlled the temperature, keeping my room cool, as studies have shown that a cooler sleeping environment promotes better sleep quality. It's about creating an environment so optimized for rest that your body has no choice but to surrender to it. The bed became a place only for sleep. I stopped working from my bed. I stopped watching movies in bed. I retaught my brain to associate that space with one thing and one thing only: profound, uninterrupted rest. Finally, I committed to a consistent sleep schedule. I went to bed at the same time and woke up at the same time, 7 days a week. The body thrives on rhythm and predictability. When you go to bed and wake up at erratic times, you're essentially putting your hormonal system on a roller coaster, creating a state of internal jet lag that wreaks havoc on your well-being. This consistency anchors your circadian rhythm, allowing all of your bodily processes, including hormone production, to function in a synchronized, optimized harmony. People look for complex biohacks, expensive supplements, and secret protocols to fix their energy and vitality. But the most powerful tool at your disposal is completely free: a disciplined approach to sleep. It is the great force multiplier. All the perfect eating and optimal training in the world will be undermined by poor sleep. It is the foundation upon which true health is built. Prioritizing rest wasn't an act of surrender, it was a strategic decision to embrace the most potent recovery tool known to man. True strength isn't found in a number on a lab report, nor is it sculpted in the gym. It's forged in the quiet discipline of 1,000 small choices. It is the peace that comes from aligning your actions with your biology, from honoring the ancient wisdom encoded in your DNA. It's the clarity of a mind free from fog and the deep, resonant energy that comes from a body that is nourished, trained, and rested. You were not designed to be tired, weak, or fragile. You were designed for power, resilience, and purpose. The path back to that design is not out there somewhere in a pill or a program. It's within you, waiting to be rediscovered through the simple, profound acts of living in harmony with yourself. Which of these three pillars, food, movement, or rest, do you feel has been the most neglected in your own life? Be honest, let's talk about it.